I never worked in a place where we work on the software and the hardware all built in-house. So the nice thing about that is we could collaborate really early on with the hardware engineering team, and we could really feel what the product that we're designing.
These are the real stories of people at Verkada who came here to build better ways to keep people and places safe. We talk about the work, how problems get solved, and the opinions in between. Today I'm chatting with Chavez, a UX designer. Welcome to Inside Verkada. This is all about getting the raw, unfiltered thoughts. What's your hottest UX take?
I'll have to say that users typically don't really know sometimes what they want. So what I mean by that is they'll be asking for a lot of simplicity, but it turns out that what they really want is everything exposed and very complex. Another idea would be like if they want something to be a little more easy to use, is something that they're not really thinking about when they tell me those things.
How do you deal with that?
So what we do is we take, of course, we do like an interview or a customer visit. So we go out to on-site and we get some insights from the customer. Then we kind of rationalize what the ideas and the proposals are. And then we go ahead and do some mock-ups just to kind of get some prototype going, and then get some initial feedback, a signal. And then from doing that, and then we could then decide on which direction we want to take. And at that point, then we can start implementing it. And then when we implement it, we'll implement something very simple. So we don't want to do all full board. We just keep it very simple, implement the least possible, just to try getting a read on if that's really the direction we want to take.
So coming into Verkada, what's something that designers here might understand that our outsiders wouldn't?
So I would say that most designers outside don't realize that everything is designed in-house. That is including all the hardware and the software. So it really helps us as the software designers, because then we could collaborate early on with the hardware team on coming up with the good software. So something as example for that would be when I worked on alarm systems, when I was working on alarm keypad. I was able to sync up with the hardware designer to ensure that what they were thinking on the hardware side, I was going to be able to come up with a nice, simple, useful UX for that screen.
What do you think is one of the hardest screens and interfaces that you've had to work on here?
Yeah, so along those lines, when we did a customer visit with Chavez, a unified school district, one of the feedbacks was they wanted to have an interface where they could route and track the school buses, and then to be able to put cameras in the school bus to detect or to see if there's any incidents that might be occurring with the students in the back. So that was a really interesting opportunity. In that case, when I was designing that GPS history page, at that point, I was able to get the requirements from Clovis, as well as our PM here, brainstorm some more, and then just start putting together some really rough mocks. So at the end, what I came up with was basically a map page with the bus routes. Would be able to, with the timeline on the bottom, and be able to scrub through to see the live and historic video. In this case, if there's incidents, then they could go ahead and archive that and be able to share it with the administrations and the parents of the students.
Is there ever a small detail that you had to really agonize over, or spend a lot of time on?
Yes, when I was working on the cameras design on the camera details page. On the camera details page, we have the video footage, and on the top left, there's a green little dot that indicates the status of the camera. So I had to come up with a solution to show when that camera was connected locally to the network. So my first approach was maybe doing a big overlay with some text and explaining that this is on a local network, but that felt a little too much. My second approach then was with an icon. Small little icon with some smaller text, but that still didn't seem right. So my final solution was just putting a white border ring around the green dot, just to indicate to the user this camera is connected on a local network versus without the green or without the white dot, it's not connected on the local network.
Before we wrap, do you have any advice for people who are looking to get into UX or design?
Yes, I would say for them to explore the opportunities that they have to see where they could go work at, to really stick with their user insights and their feelings about a good UX design, to defend it when they have to, and not to let it just go with the flow. Also, more importantly, to follow their gut.
That's Victor on this episode of Inside Verkada.